Do you believe our own thoughts can manifest reality? Have you wanted to play with the quantum space? Do you like to go on adventures? What if you could? The adventure app Randonautica might be for you.
It stinks, y'all.
Suddenly, as they poked open the suitcase with a stick, the smell became overwhelming, and only then did they realize something sinister might be inside.
Okay, so she's calling the police so we can see if it's actually a dead body or it's just food.
When cops got there, they confirmed the presence of human remains in the trash bag stuffed inside the suitcase. So how did the teens end up here, at this specific location where they found the suitcase? They were directed there by a smartphone app called Randonautica.
The urban exploring app created a genre of YouTube and TikTok videos that marry the supernatural with the internet's obsession with mystery and true crime. Randonautica describes itself as somewhere in the middle between a game, science, art, and spirituality, but some people are creating misleading content for views and fueling wildly unfounded conspiracy theories.
Yeah, how have you felt about a lot of the conspiracy theories about it?
Dude, honestly, it's kind of been hard to deal with a little bit because, like, going into it, I never really used Randonautica to seek out creepy places. Like, I've found a few, like, hobo dens that were pretty creepy, and, like, I've had some generally spooky stuff happen, but I never, like, tried to look for death or danger or anything. So it was a little bit disheartening to see just that the collective unconscious just, you know, seeks fear-based stuff. That was a little bit concerning, but I think it's just part of the lessons that we're going to have to learn as a species, and like it's just part of life where people are going to go out there and find really morbid, creepy stuff, and are going to want to find that stuff. I mean, personally, that's just not my bent, so I don't really see it as a bastardization. I see it as just taking it as another angle, which, I mean, it perfectly fits the use case of Randonautica. Randonautica can take you to some pretty creepy places, but I just personally never wanted to get spooked out, really. Like, I mean, it's kind of a side effect of going to unknown places, but that was never, like, the number one thing I was seeking out. I was always seeking out mind-bending synchronicities.
And, you know, it's kind of a similar case to Aleister Crowley, where, you know, he developed magic not as a spooky system, but as, you know, something for individual development. But what caught on and what people brought to it was, ooh, spooky. So he became the wickedest man in the world to become famous, and it worked.
That's interesting. I didn't know that. That's really interesting.
How does this app work? Basic usage goes like so. First, you select which type of quantum RNG method you wish to use. Then you have an intention in mind as you select your quantum method. The app then connects to a quantum computer to create a custom spot on the map for you to explore.
Meeting up with Randonautica themselves. Now right here to my left and your right is Auburn. She's actually one of the co-founders of the app. So Auburn, I guess the very first question I have is, you briefly said on the Zoom call, the app is more powerful than what we realize. Can you just maybe touch on that and explain kind of what you mean by that, I guess?
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people want to know like how Randonautica works.
Yep.
And there's like a technical side to how it works, but when it comes to what's actually happening and this weirdness, this sort of high strangeness that's occurring, we don't know necessarily. Like,
I gotcha.
We do know though when you start interacting with randomness, so like this kind of chaos state, that like weird things happen, and you can attract things into your life.
Yeah.
You can attract things at your point.
Yep.
And I mean, on the technical side, what we're doing is we're literally using a quantum laser in a vacuum. Okay, it's based in Australia, Australian National University, and the laser creates quantum random numbers, and then those numbers work with our algorithm to put a point on your map, right?
Okay.
So that process is what we would consider true randomness. You can't, no one knows how it's happening and how it's actually, no one's talking to your map necessarily, okay?
Gotcha.
If that makes sense?
Yeah.
So,
it's developed by itself.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
It's not like you all are saying, hey, this looks like a creepy spot, let's pinpoint.
Exactly.
Correct. It's completely
a lot of
random.
people ask that too,
Yeah.
because they'll be like, I ended up at a cemetery, right?
Right.
And they'll say, well, Do they have preloaded cemeteries in here? Well, if we did that, then it wouldn't be random anymore.
Correct.
And the theory that we're testing is like, what happens when you step outside of your probability tunnel? Like, you wake up every day, well, you're randonauting all the time,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
you're already stepping out. But in normal life, like, you wake up, brush your teeth, eat breakfast, go to work, take your lunch break, okay? And through like many years of research, people have found that if you break out of your patternistic behavior, you start to see things differently.
Okay.
And
So you're experiencing things out of your normal realm. Is that what you're saying, kind of?
yeah,
Okay,
and
I
like
gotcha.
your consciousness expands. So like when you're randonauting, you'll notice that, like, you know, you set an intention and all of a sudden it becomes, whoa, wait, that's there and this makes sense, right? If you were just driving to work, you're on autopilot and your brain isn't going to see those important things.
I can see that. You're kind of engaged with what you're normally used to. Is that?
Yeah.
Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah.
To understand it, you must understand synchronicity, which is the act of taking coincidences and applying a higher meaning. You have to have an intention, and then when you get to the spot the app told you to go to, you look for the intention you were thinking of. Because the brain is always looking for patterns and you have a focused pattern or objective in mind, there most likely will be a coincidence at that area or time. The brain then puts the pattern with intention on top to then create meaning for the spectator. I highly recommend checking out Carl Jung's work into this, plus add in some neuroscience plus psychology to fully understand the mechanics going on.
So my first time using Randonautica, I was introduced to it from a girl that I really liked. And she had told me about it, and I understood the mechanics behind it in terms of like the Jungian ideas of synchronicity. So, you know, I was like, alright, I'll give this a try, because I'm very interested in learning more and how to gamify the whole synchronicity phenomenon, as you will. So, I go out to the very first location, and what ends up happening is nothing. I didn't really see anything that was out of the ordinary, except 100 feet away or so. What ended up happening is that there was a street sign that actually had the name of the girl that I was talking to. So that was very interesting as a very first experiment, very first run. And then I've done a couple other ones where nothing really happened, and then one of them was pretty cool. So it gave me a location. I got to the location and nothing happened at that location, but you know, it was late at night, so I thought, you know what I'll do, I'll just wait a little bit. And it was like 11 o'clock, so I waited, or like 11:10, no, like 11:05, whatever, and I waited till 11:11, which is a magic number, right? And what ended up happening is that a train came by at that location, and I thought that was pretty neat. But the experiences that you have through this are going to be dependent on a lot of variables, and it's a very cool experiment. And if you think that it might be something interesting, I definitely recommend giving it a try. Regardless of what you believe in, if you believe in the woo, if you believe in the conspiracies, if you believe in the Jungian psychology, it doesn't matter. It's a very fun experience if you allow it to be. For other people that don't get anything out of it, most of the time they're not really understanding that the first component and the main component is setting that intention. Once you have that intention set, then you'll be able to go ahead and create patterns off of that.
Thank you for watching our video. And if you can do us a huge favor, please like and subscribe for more videos like this. Peace and love. Mother Nixa AI logging off. Until next time.